Hey guys, Ike here from IkesOutdoors.com. Before I get started with this video, I got a warning for you guys. I am going to be showing you my rucksack. You may have misunderstood that. I'm going to be showing you my rucksack, not what you thought. What I've got is I've got the rut, the pre-rut is kicking in right now. I've seen young bucks trailing and seen some does that are being chased and things like that. So the rut is starting to get in. That pre-rut time is really kicking up full bore here in Missouri. 2-3 weeks we'll be into the full rut, and what I do every year is I make myself what I call my rucksack because I think it's funny. And this is my rucksack right here. So there you go, I showed you all my rucksack. And this is basically, the thing I like about keeping it this way is everything in here, I don't have to load it and unload it in my bag. I don't have to worry about where it is. I like keeping it separate. You can throw it in your bag and it's no big deal. It's not a lot of stuff, as you can see. I keep it in this small pouch, but I can keep this on my side if I want to. I can throw it in my bag. But I'm an organized person. I like to keep everything organized, and everything for the rut that I like to use is right here. So we're going to take this thing apart piece by piece and show you guys what I carry specifically for the rut. Now, I carry a lot of other stuff with me, but this is just the stuff that I use for the rut. This is specifically for the rut. That's why I call it my rucksack. So right off the beginning, you're going to see a couple things. This is something that I'm new to trying out this year, but I'm going to try it out and see how it does, so I can't really vouch for this thing. This is the Wind Pro, and this is the Docent. And I like it because I'm going to try it out for sprinkle it around in some scrapes, spray it on my way to the stand. I just like the idea of it. Now, whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. And you will notice there's going to be some repetition in here too. There's some things that I carry multiple things of, and you may not have to. You may not share my opinion on it. The other thing that I carry before we get into the actual bag is a set of rattling antlers, probably like most of you guys do too. I also carry a rattle bag too. And the reason I carry the rattling antlers and the rattle bag is I've noticed some bucks. I watched one buck one day that I had my rattle bag out and I was smacking it together, and he didn't care. He didn't care a bit. I will let 5 minutes go by and I broke out my antlers. And as soon as I broke out these antlers, he started coming my direction and he was interested. So the rattle bag just didn't sound right to him or something. He didn't like it. So I carry my antlers. This is an 8-point, 10-point that I killed a couple years ago. And actually, this is my first pretty decent buck that I ever killed and made him into a set of rattling antlers. I carry these for that, and I carry them because I like to carry my rattling antlers. These are my rattling antlers, I killed this buck, and these are mine. It's not some bag that I bought at the store. So I like to carry my rattling antlers. I'll probably carry them until the day I die, even if they come out with something that's way better. I'll probably still carry those. Actually, I have a set of black racks somewhere that I don't even use anymore. I just like the set of the antlers better. So again, we're going to get into repetition here again. There's my bag. This is just a Mad bag, Bang bag. I don't know, it sounds okay and it's nice and convenient, but I still like the regular antlers as well. I like this one. I'm pretty old school when it comes to calls. I got an old one in here that I'm going to show you guys in a minute, but I do like this Bone Collector flex tone, and the reason I like it is because it's got a deep sound to it, and it's also got the snort wheeze, which around here I've messed with that snort wheeze, and all it ever does is kind of scare the deer off, so I don't ever use the snort wheeze. But I like that deep growl. I like that tone to it. And I like how you can make it sound different. My other grunt call, it's a lot more limited than this, so I like how versatile that is. You see my other grunt call here in a minute, you'll see why I like the versatility of that one. This kind of falls into the same category of my rattling antlers. This thing's pretty old school. This thing is probably 30 years old. This is my dad's, and my dad has been dead for 20 years. So I still carry this thing with me every year, still use it, and it still sounds good. And you see, it's just got a different sound than the flex tone. So if I can't get some interest with this one, maybe I can get some interest with this one. Problem with this one is it's so old school. That's all it does. All it does is grunt. Where this one, I can change the tone. I can do a doe. I can do a doe and estrus, things like that. So I like to have multiple calls on me. Now we'll get into scents, and I'll show you some scents here in a minute the way I use them. I use a couple basic scents, and to me it doesn't really matter what company I use them from. I do like some fresh doe and estrus urine. Some of those companies that you can get it within like 48 hours, it's bottled and directly to you. I do like doing that, but I just haven't got any yet. I use basically 2 scents during the rut, and that is doe and estrus and just regular doe urine. The reason I don't use dominant buck is because around here we don't have a lot of bucks. The buck to doe ratio is about 1 buck for every 5 to 6 does, so I don't really get into the dominant buck lure or stuff like that because it's just never really worked for me. So I use a standard doe and estrus and just the standard doe urine. And like I said, I use these because they're big bottles, and you'll see the way I use them here in a minute. I need more scent. Now I will pick up some kind of fresh scent as I go. Now I'll take both of those scents and I'll put them on drag rags, and I'll mark which one is which. This one is just the estrus, and this one is your standard, is my standard doe urine scent. And what I've done basically is I've taken an old hunting sock that I wrapped, or I washed in with my hunting clothes and stuff like that, and got it scent free. And then I put a rope on it and put a loop in it so I can put it over my boot and drag it in, or I can put it on a stick and drag it in if I want to keep it away from my body. The sock works great because it's so absorbent. It absorbs that scent, and it keeps it, keeps it in there and lays down a good trail. Now I keep them in these bags to keep them fresh smelling, and then when I need them, and also to keep them from getting on everything. But basically when I get in the field, rather than having to dump my scent on there, I've basically got them all ready to go. So I've got both my drag rags ready to go, and I'll use both of these at the same time. I'll use the estrus one, I'll use just the doe urine. I'll use both of these at the same time though, quite a bit. So that's my drag rag setup. Next is just some scents that I like to use because of the longevity of them, and I've been using them for a while and they've worked out pretty good. This is just the Hunter Specialty Doe and Estrus scent wafers. I love these things because I can take them when I get there, and I can pull the loop around, however I can pull the loop around. I can pull the loop around and I can hang it up wherever I want it, or I can hang it on a tree down in the woods there in front of me at 20 yards or whatever. And then when I get done, I fold it back up, I put it back in here, and it recharges it. I've had this same one for a couple years now, and they're long lasting and they smell pretty good. I've had really good success with them. And then the other things that I use, which that's a cover scent, the other things that, and that's a cover scent, are these right here. And this is the Mojo scent sticks. This is the Buck 911, which I don't use that a whole lot. I usually use the Doe and Estrus, but I don't have it in here. And I like these because it's the paste, kind of that deodorant style looking stuff, and I can rub it right on trees as I go in. I can rub it on the bottom of my boots, and it's really going to last a long time and stay there. If you rub it on trees, despite the weather, despite anything, it's going to be there and it's going to smell good. So I like to use that stuff in combination with the liquid scents as well. Those are the solid scents that I use. Here's the other call that I use, and again, it's repetition, but I like the sound of this. And I don't know how many deer have been killed because of a Doe and Estrus box call. I've used a ton. I've had a lot of deer come into these things. You do this, followed by that grunt call, and a tending grunt, man, in the right combination at the right time of the year, it'll bring the deer running. So I like that, and I like to use it in combination with my 2 grunt calls. And again, it's repetition. I've got another doe call there, but to me this one just sounds better, and it's easier for me to have my grunt call, do this, and then do my tending grunts, and things like that. So that's a pretty good way to get a deer's attention. And if I was going to take one call with me to the woods, that one would definitely be it. Now, I think this is the last thing we got in the bag here. You'd be amazed how much my rucksack can hold, huh? The last thing I got here is just the little scent bombs. And these are the scent bombs that you can go to the store and buy. I also use the key wicks, but I just don't have any of them right now to hang up. And what I've done with these is basically poured my scent in there, my Doe and Estrus stuff. And you'll see these look a little bit different than what the other ones do. And that's because what I do is I wash these out every year at the end of the year, and I use just the 100 green laundry soap, and I wash these out real good. You can even throw them in the laundry soap. Don't throw them in the dryer, but you can even throw them in the laundry with your hunting clothes and wash these up, and it'll get them scent free. And that little wick that's in there, you want to throw that away at the end of every year because it's got doe urine in it. It's just going to get that ammonia smell to it, and it ain't going to be good for the next year. So I've bought some of those things in the past, and I just always lose them, and I just don't feel like going and getting more of them. So what I ended up doing was just buying some cotton balls and shoving in the bottom of these things, and then filling it up about halfway with doe and estrus scent. So I use those quite a bit just to go out and just drop them as I get and kind of hang them from trees and do little stuff like that with these scent bombs. And I got really bad about leaving those things out in the woods, so rather than going and buying them, what I started doing was I take a acid reducer, omeprazole, every day. I got acid reflux really bad. And what I started doing was just doing the same thing with these bottles. This bottle, you probably don't want to use vitamins or stuff that smells, but this bottle had almost no scent to it at all. So I did the same thing with it. I just took it and I cleaned it up real good with some of that Hunter's Green soap, and then on the inside of it, I dropped down in there. Ooh, that one's rank. I dropped down in there 2 or 3 cotton balls and filled it up with the doe urine and put the lid back on it. Now I've got something that's sealed up. It's not going to leak. It's not going to get my doe urine all over my bag or anything like that. And I've got it. I can pop the top off of it. I can throw it down there as I'm walking in. I can drop it, things like that. And actually, if I'm walking in and I want to do something with it, like with my boots, I can pull this stuff out and I can rub it all over my boots or something like that. So I got a whole bunch of these in here. I'm real bad about forgetting them, so I'm tired. And they're cheap. I know they're cheap. They're like $5 for 3 of them, but I literally would go through 9 or 12 of those things every year because every weekend I'd go out and I'd forget the dang things. I'd walk out and I'd be like, well, I forgot that thing, and then I'd go back and I wouldn't be able to find it, wouldn't be able to remember where I put it or something like that. So I just got to using these things, and they work out really good, and they are a heck of a, I got to buy them anyway, so I might as well keep using them. So that is what I keep in my rucksack, and most of this stuff, 99% of this stuff is the same stuff that I carry every year. Of course, every year I try out a few new things and things like that. And the thing that I'm trying out this year is this little Wind Pro doe deal here, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. I like the way it smells, and I like the idea of just squirt it as I go. So I'll keep you updated on how the Wind Pro doe works for me. But that is what I carry in my rucksack. Now, you don't have to have a rucksack like this. I like to have it separate because that's the way I am. I like to have all my stuff organized into its own specific little place. You could throw all this stuff in your bag. This is probably consists of about half of what I would carry in my bag anyway. Other than that, I just carry camera gear, limb saw, and a few bow hangers and some cover scent and a flashlight. That's about it. This is the majority of what I keep in my bag, but the reason I don't add it to my bag is this time of year, it's getting cold. Next weekend, we're expecting it to be 31 degrees in the morning. So I don't add this to my bag because it takes up so much space that I use for my clothes. So I don't ever wear my extra layers in. I go in and basically my base layers, my pants, my boots, base layers on the top, and then when I get to the stand and I get settled down, that's when I put on my clothes. So I put a lot of clothes in my bag, and this just takes up a lot of space in it. And I can throw it on my hip. I can throw my bag on my back and walk through the woods. It's just easier for me. So that's what I keep in my rucksack. So if anyone asks you guys, have you seen Ike's rucksack? You can say yes. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. Be sure to check out our partner, Full Drawn Addiction, for all their full line of apparel. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share these videos. And please be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook under Ike's Outdoors. Appreciate it, guys.